Hi and welcome to another episode of Mr. Puzzle, and today we're gonna have a look at this puzzle here called the U.F.O Plate by BRUNS. And if you hear the name BRUNS, you know what it will be about. It will be about excellent manufacturing with unconventional solutions. The U.F.O Plate, or I will call it the U.F.O for the rest of the video, is a metal plastic combo puzzle, quite well made. Top side out of aluminum, as you can see, top-notch production as usual, and the bottom side out of also pretty good looking plastic that have definitely went through a machining process for some reason, and some hints here also on the back side. More about that when you read the instruction, which says no force required. Do not force opening it. It will open effortlessly when solved. Do not remove the ring. So he's talking about this ring here. Marked in the picture, doing so will disable the mechanism, which is quite strange since this ring is actually entirely fixed. And then handle with care, avoid banging, drops, impacts, or any actions that could damage the puzzle. I mean, this is clear. And difficulty toggle, removing the sticker here, will reduce the difficulty from level 10 out of 10 to 3 out of 10. Well, I have already a clue how to solve this puzzle, and I'm really curious if this might work. And I would also like to show you another pretty cool fidget device, which is this one here. It's the Helico Mach III by Metmo. You remember probably this one here. This is the Mark II. It's a fidget spinner, which had back then a herringbone gear printed with magnets inside, a brass core. It can spin due to the magnetic force like so. Pretty satisfying to use, by the way. It gives you also like a slightly rough feeling from the printed surfaces when rotating. This one, however, is the next generation. This one does not come with a herringbone as the previous one. It does come with two helical gears that are somehow joined, probably by this screw. And this is probably due to manufacturing reasons, because manufacturing herringbone gears with conventional CNC is quite tricky. With printing it's easier, but if you switch to entire brass version, by the way, this is also available in stainless steel, titanium, and a nylon printed version like this one. This one, however, provides you with a much more satisfying sound, because here we're talking about metallic gears. The magnets are quite strong, as usual. As you can see here, they are really strong. The two gears of the old one and new one, by the way, are not compatible, so they are not matching the modulus. However, this one is, I think, like subjectively double the weight as this one, so this one feels much nicer in your hand. And the noise, I actually prefer if such devices make a certain noise. And man, this thing is really, the magnets are really strong. Don't get it apart here. Ah, now, okay. You can also store them in this condition. They stick together, of course, due to the magnets. So nice to handle and to play with in your hands. The Helico Mach III. But now let's continue with the puzzle. And after this bottle break, you're gonna see my first attempt trying to solve or open up. It's actually a puzzle box. I forgot to mention that. To open up this little U.F.O to see what can actually fit inside such a small thing. So I told you in the introduction, even without looking at anything here, as beautiful as it is, on the top of the puzzle, one thing that gave me a significant hint was the downside here, or the bottom side. And this is these two symbols that are already revealed. This one here is covering additional hints, which should make the puzzle much easier to solve, but those two hints, especially this hint here, are like an eye-opener for me. So this is, I'm not sure what this is referring to. It's like a dishwasher symbol or something like that. But this one here is basically the solution. It told me the solution, at least I think so, just by looking at it, okay? So I interpreted it in the following way. This is the puzzle from the bottom side, as you can see here. And this is the thermometer with pointing at a specific temperature. In this case, it's a low temperature. So I assume we need to cool down one of the two sides to separate it. And which side, I cannot tell you right now, because it depends on how these two pieces are joined. I will explain you later a bit more in detail why. But I assume for now it's the bottom side, which makes sense because it would be easier to manufacture. I also explain you later why, but let's first test the theory if I'm right by cooling down the bottom side. And then in the next step, or alternatively, by the way, I could also heat up the top side. But heat is usually not too good if it comes to plastic, and also the top side, since it's made from metal, would transfer the heat or spread the heat very easily. Aluminum is a very good conductor, and it will also heat up the bottom side. Therefore, I will heat the insulated plastic bottom side, or cool it down, sorry, and then let's see what happens. If the puzzle comes already apart from this, or if I somehow need to screw it apart afterwards. So I just removed my board. I don't want to get it wet, therefore I just put this one here. It's pretty cold. It's out of the freezer. And I'm not sure. I will just put it on top and wait. Let's see what happens. Maybe I will create like a small deepened area so that everything will cool, not only the center area, but also the sides. So far, I think nothing, or no, nothing happened yet. Or maybe I need to cool down the top side. Would be much more efficient, I think. But let's see. Let's first try with the bottom side. Okay, so it does not seem to work if I cool down the bottom side only. Let's try the top side for now. Is it still cold enough? I think so, yes. Should still work. Oh, it becomes loose, guys. It becomes loose. I was right. I will just stick it here or stay here for a while. Let me put it over here. It's still colder. I think it's already loose, guys. And you see this? Can it screwed off or just pulled out? Ah, I think I... Oh, here we go, guys. Here we go. That's actually pretty cool. He used the physical effect of thermal expansion and contraction. Okay, and this is the puzzle from inside. So the compartment size is about 65 and the height is 8 plus another 3, so 11 in height, 65 in diameter. How does that work actually? Okay, so let me try to explain you. Let me just see what's also below on this sticker. I mean, since I opened it up now anyway, I can have a look. Ah, okay, minus 20 and plus 25. Okay, so it probably tells to cool down. So it needs to be down to minus 20 probably to be solved. Or this is how it was, let's say, designed. What I need to do is I need to cool both of them probably down, both of them. And probably due to the cold surface here, the heat or the cold temperature was transferred here into the material, and the ring basically here was shrinking. Okay, not sure about this ring, if this should somehow support the shrinkage. Probably I could also remove this if I could it further down, or just limit the expansion. So it's a fascinating physical effect. So we have like two different materials here. Yeah, we have a aluminum and we have a plastic material. I assume it's, from the look and how it feels, is probably like a nylon, a PA6 or PA66 material or something like that. So let's do a quick exercise. Tell me the heat expansion rate of aluminum versus PA6. So means aluminum has usually a thermal expansion of 23 micrometers per meter per Kelvin. Okay, so this is 10 to the power of minus 6. So means the aluminum changes its dimension. If you have a stick of 1 meter length, it will change with each degree of the change, each degree Kelvin or Celsius. If you go warmer, it will expand by 23 times 10 to the power of minus 6 meters per degree. Go colder, it will shrink at the same amount. This is like linear, okay, linear behavior. For the plastic, however, it changes more. It changes 80 to 90 micrometer per Kelvin, okay? And this leads to the following effect. If you cool these two down to the same temperature, minus 20, the dimensional change due to the shrinkage on this one will be 3 times more than this one. It means for this part, we have here a diameter of, I cannot exactly measure it, we have here a diameter of like 90 millimeters. And here we have, let's assume more or less the same. Let's calculate with the 90. Calculate the dimensional change of the two materials if you go down from 25 degrees to minus 20 degrees at a diameter of 90 millimeter. So here we go. And this means this piece here will shrink by 0.093 millimeters. So basically it will shrink from 90 millimeters to 89.9 millimeters. While that one here will shrink by 0.324 millimeters from 90 to 89.635. And this is creating actually the free play. So I do not need to cool a certain side, I need to cool both sides. Why? Because those pieces have actually manufactured at room temperature to a certain dimension with a certain interference between the two parts. So means BRUNS defined what interference there should be to create this press fit between the materials. Let's assume he calculated this one needs to be 0.1 more than this one. The outer diameter 0.1 more than the inner diameter here. That means he will manufacture it with those exact dimensions, and afterwards he will cool both pieces down. Actually you need to only cool this one down, but you can also cool both down. So this one will shrink, they will be joined, and then afterwards this will expand again when the temperature raises, and then you have a press fit and you will not get it apart. This is actually a very common technology or manufacturing step used if you want to, for example, join a shaft with a gear and there's no way to fix it somehow with screws or whatever. You cool down the shaft, you heat up the gear, and then you join them, which need to be precisely aligned because otherwise the materials can be damaged. And then when both come back to the same temperature, you have an incredibly strong fit that can transfer very, very high torques. But there comes something in addition, and I'm not sure if he considered that. And this is not impacting this material, but it's impacting this material because plastics, especially PLA, will absorb humidity out of the surrounding air. So this one I think has a humidity between like 0 when it's injection molded to up to maybe several percent. Let's check it. Tell me the humidity for PA6 without glass fiber, what it is with 0% humidity, and what it is with the maximum possible saturation of the plastic material with humidity, referring to the same dimension as before, meaning the dimensional change between 0 humidity and the maximum, and as a reference the same dimension with 50% humidity. How much does the material and the dimension change? And here it comes. Unfilled polyimide is highly hygroscopic. This applies also to other plastic materials, by the way. POM, for example, is not that sensitive to this issue, but PA is very sensitive to it. And what does it mean? Let's see what he says, what it means. So, at 0%, here you can see it, the maximum can be 8% to 9%, and this is also impacting the dimensions, guys. At 0%, we are 0% water, of course, 50% relative humidity. If you leave this for a long time in a room with 50%, you are at about 3%. And if you go maximum, for example, put it in a glass of water, you get up to 9.5%, which is a huge impact in regards to the dimension. You can see it here. This one is not impacted by this effect, of course, but here you can see with the relative humidity, the diameter can increase by 0.72 millimeters. This is actually more than the impact of the temperature, okay? So means, if you get this material from a supplier, not conditioned to 50%, you manufacture it to a certain dimension, to 90 millimeters, after a while, after several weeks, it will be at 90.72. The point is here that if you manufacture the thing in summertime at high humidity, let's say 50-60%, perfectly align the two dimensions, and then in winter you store this, it gets a little cooler maybe in the shop, not much, maybe down to 10 degrees, no issue at all. But if the humidity, which is usually in winter lower, drops to maybe 10%, this will actually reduce the dimension of your part, of this part, by up to 0.5 millimeters, maybe, roughly. So it can maybe separate. Depending on the material, it can be more or less. However, there's always this effect with plastics, and I'm really curious if BRUNS considered this. Interesting one. I think I got my hands dirty on many puzzles, but I cannot remember one where it got it wet. This is the first one. Interesting puzzle, interesting discussion piece. As usual for BRUNS, very unconventional solution here on this puzzle. Well made, an excellent piece to be picked up out of your shelf and have a detailed discussion about thermal expansion rates and physics. I like it. I like it. Let me know what you think about this puzzle. If you don't come up with the solution, I agree. It's definitely a 10 of 10. For me, the difficulty, it was probably a 1 or 2 out of 10 because I immediately got the point what this symbol on the bottom means. I had the right idea here. Let me know what you think about this puzzle. Is something like this unfair, or is it actually a quite cool difference compared to other puzzles? Just let me know and let BRUNS know in the comments. And that's it for today. Until next time, keep on puzzling!